Hi everyone, and welcome to week 5 of Info 649 library programming. So this week we are going to be talking about exemplary library programs. But first, let's get to a little bit of the housekeeping. The interview projects, I made an announcement, and I also mentioned at the beginning of last week's lecture notes that the project will be due October 29th, which is the end of next week. Also, small group, or rather this week, small group discussions are also due this week. So just to wrap up from some of the conversations that I saw happening in the discussion, good library programs should address community needs and reflect knowledge and or understanding of the community. Patrons should leave happy, satisfied, educated, and or informed. And then someone posed a question about, how to provide outreach to people who are LGBTQ plus organizations as well as at-risk youth. And I just wanted to say that at my library, we invite these organizations into table and host programming. The first step for most of these types of organizations is creating that relationship of trust. So they want to know that they can trust you and that you are not going to misrepresent or harm their community in any way. So you have to create that trust relationship first. And then once the trust is created, then they'll welcome you into their space when they have events for tabling or resource sharing as well. So that was just my take on it, but I'm sure there are other answers and specific examples of what y'all may be doing. So exemplary library programs. What kinds of library programs are there? Right, so we're going to talk about that. In week 1 notes, I listed some of the most common types of programs commonly offered at U.S. public libraries. Lear 2013 suggested that there are 7 common formats for adult programming in public libraries. Certainly, there are more programming formats for all ages and all types of libraries, but these are the 7 that are most common, and together they provide us with a good idea of the most common current types of library programs. So we have speaker and panel discussions. They usually feature subtopic experts in the audience can ask questions afterwards. Instructional presentations, the goal here is to teach the audience how to do something, such as a college financial aid presentation, for example. They usually include handouts and or other information that the audience can take home. Workshops, which are instructional presentations with added element of hands-on learning sessions. Demonstrations, the presenter talks about a topic while creating or doing something in front of the audience, such as an origami demonstration. Live performances, demonstrations without the talking part, such as musical performances, poetry readings, dance programs, things of that nature. Discussion groups, a number of people, usually with a pre-selected leader, they get together and they explore a topic, such as a book discussion group or a current events discussion group. There's also film and video series where you show a film and it's often followed by a discussion, and this is in Lear page 124 to 134. Another way to consider the kinds of programs offered in libraries is to focus on common topic areas for library programs. Rainier 2005 provides extensive lists of possible topics that make good library programs. These include, but are not limited to, creative arts programs, which could be drawing, sketching, painting, calligraphy, silkscreen printing, textile and paper making, ceramics and pottery, jewelry making, sculpting and carving. At my library, we have an artist in residence, and yesterday we made creative headdresses. So they designed, a headdress with flowers, and then the kids did a parade afterwards. But the program was for kids and adults. Written programs, so creative writing, business and resume writing, which is a huge one for workforce, rare book and old book seminars, antiques and collectibles. We also offer conversations on copyright. History and travel is another subject area. So, local history, Native American history, famous sons and daughters, famous landmarks, military veterans, current social issues, genealogy, right? Then there's the technology, computer classes, basic computer skills, specific computer applications or library databases, new product showcases, and digital cameras. There's the health, welfare, and nutrition, diabetes, smoking and its implications, affordable health care, cancer, heart health, choosing a doctor, getting a second opinion, pediatric and neonatal health, stress, hypertension, and stroke awareness, nutrition, alternative medicines, and again, stuff relating to health. You really want to look at your community and what the community needs are. Cultural programs, film and film series, which we talked about a little while ago, theater, drama and plays, writers groups, storytelling, quiz games, book discussion groups, poetry readings, creative writing groups, popular crafts, includes basketry, quilting, scrapbooking, journaling, stained glass, food and agricultural things, cooking demonstration, cooking classes, gardening, which had kind of quieted down during the pandemic because people were shying away from food sharing. But I think now most places have resumed something relating to cooking demonstrations and are comfortable with providing that. Then there's the crafting and hobbies, interior and exterior decorating, flower crafts, needle crafts, collectibles, fishing, model making, and do-it-yourself and home improvement. So the list tells us about many of the kinds of programming that libraries can offer, but what are some of the characteristics of exemplary programs? This is what makes a program a great success. Much more important than selecting interesting topic areas, the careful thought that goes into the program and the design. First and most importantly, good library programs are directly tied to the library's mission and goals. No matter how fun, no matter how exciting, no matter how innovative program idea is, if it doesn't fit within the library's mission, it's not a good library program, period. So one of my colleagues recently asked me the question, are all of these big programs worthwhile when they are potentially limiting our resources? So I'm going to give the full background and full context. We've been having a lot of large author programs that we have had to close our doors early because the capacity of the building, right? So those attending the program, those who were not attending the program had to leave early. So we shut down at 5 o'clock and then we let people in who had registered for the programs, right? The one that we had most recently and was the catalyst for this conversation was on Tuesday. We had Jada Pinkett Smith and her family in the library. And the logic behind it, right? Jada grew up in Baltimore. She went to high school very close to our central location. And she recently released a book, and we brought her in for an author talk, right? So a discussion. Needless to say, we had around 600 patrons in the library, as well as library donors in attendance for this conversation. So our mission statement reads, our mission is to empower, enrich, and enhance the quality of life for all through equitable access to information, services, and opportunity. And I replied to my colleague that the program attendance contributes overall to our gate count, but also more importantly, and most importantly, we don't pay for these speakers to come in for these events. Instead, what we do is we will purchase copies of the books and distribute them to all program attendees. And what was an additional benefit in Jada's case, The copies that we received were signed first editions, so there could potentially be some monetary value for these books in the future. Furthermore, these programs, and when I say these programs, I'm referring to our large speaker events, are held in the evening, which is not hugely impactful for the traffic to our subject departments. So those are the things that, we'll assess before we, for example, shut down early or for a large speaker event or even plan a large speaker event, right? This is a long way of explaining that the number one most important element of a successful library program is that it aligns with the library's mission. In the case above, I would argue that we are providing equitable access to information. Instead of listing other important elements, I'm going to let you work with your small groups this week to figure out what additional elements are key for exemplary program. Then all of the groups will compare their ideas and we can learn from each other about what makes a successful library program. So those are the notes for this week. They are short and sweet because I know you guys have a lot of work to get done. And also, I want to conclude by saying congratulations. You've made it to week 5. You are halfway through the course. I hope everyone has a wonderful week, and please reach out should you have any questions. Bye-bye.